Last week I did a video on entrepreneurship versus employment, and many of you reached out asking me about my experience in entrepreneurship. I have been a consultant, a HR consultant for the last 10 years, and I'm one of the founders of Corporate Staffing Services, one of the top-rated HR and recruitment firms here in Nairobi. And so I've done it. I've been in employment and now I'm in business. So I believe I can be able to share with you my tips and my experience when it comes to transitioning from being an employee to now starting your own thing. And you know, in the last couple of years, there's been all this talk about the need to become self-sufficient, the need to start your own thing, the need to follow your dreams, the need to follow your passion. And it's all good. And also, when we read about successful people in the newspapers, in the media, they tend to sort of glamorize entrepreneurship. But is the grass always greener? And are there things they don't tell you when it comes to starting a business, and more so, starting a consultancy? So in this video, I'm going to address, I would say, the 5 top things that they don't tell you when it comes to starting a consultancy or a business for that matter. The first thing you need to know is that there's no perfect time to get into consultancy or business for that matter. So if you are looking for a special sign, if you're looking for white smoke, if you're looking for God to talk to you in your dreams, then you are going to wait for a very long time. So what you do is just follow your gut. And how does it work? You normally find now and then you started to think about business, you started to think about ideas, you started to question things. You start feeling uneasy, sort of. And that's a sign that things need to change and you are thinking about business. So whenever that moment comes, I'm not saying then you drop everything you're doing, you resign and immediately you go asking for office space. No, but it means now start planning. What business do you want to get into? What does it take in terms of capital? Talk to people who've been there. What is the experience? For example, if you're looking to get into consultancy is one of the easiest business to get into. Why? Because you don't need an office. All you need are your skills. And the fact that you're looking to get into consultancy, it means that you've been helping people out there. For example, before I started Corporate Staffing Services, I would help people here and there with HR policies, with recruitment. And that's the time I saw potential. That's the time I say to myself, hey, guess what? If I'm doing this and in a month I'm having 1 or 2 people asking for me to do this for them, then it means there's a bigger market out there that I'm not able to reach out. And with that, the idea of forming Corporate Staffing Services came to be. So if you're an accountant, if you're a videographer, even if you're a doctor, you're a nutritionist, and people come to you for advice, then look at that as God talking to you now and telling you, try something else. My point number 2, when it comes to things they don't tell you about starting a business and a consultancy for that matter, because that's where I have experience in, is that it will take you more work than you realize. Before you make it, before you become successful, there's a lot that you need to do. And no one tells us that. The other day I was discussing with someone in the media industry and they were really amazed at what Jarango has done. If you're watching this in 5 years later, Jarango was one of the leading media practitioners. And we are now in 2021. But I asked this person, do you know when Jarango started his media career? Jarango started, I started hearing about him way back in 2003. And now we are in 2021. Those are close to 17 years. So now that he has come up with a YouTube channel and is interviewing who is who and getting all these views, other media people are following him. Some who even only worked in the media for 6 months. Some who've only been interns and now they want to have a channel and a successful channel at that. Well, they don't forget that this gentleman, Felix Oduol, he's been there for more than 17 years. So my point to you is there's nothing like an overnight success. It will take time, it's hard work. So when it comes to business, my advice to you is seek mentors, seek coaches, go for trainings. And like you've seen, if Baba was born in a political family, you and I, we are not lucky like him. So for him, he received mentorship from his father, from even other politicians, because even if they are competitors, they do interact. So it's the same case. If you're looking to get in business, no matter how much money you have, no matter how many skills you have, the starting point would be to always talk to other people who will be able to advise you on the steps they've taken, how the journey has been. And that way, you'll be able to minimize the mistakes that many people make when they get into business. So it's not just your skills that will help you succeed. It takes more than your skills. And engaging others, talking to experts, attending training sessions to be mentored are just some of the few things you can do, so that this work I talked about in the beginning, you can be able to reduce it. The third point is that don't rely on your company clients. What do I mean? Sometimes when you're employed, you look at your boss, you look at the lifestyle, and you look at the money that you're bringing in, and you ask yourself, this guy, I bring him 2 million shillings and he only pays me 50,000. Something is not adding up. And I've seen many people make these mistakes where you believe that the same clients you've been servicing, especially for people who are in sales, people who are in consultancy, such as what I'm doing, you imagine then that you can move away with the clients, that everyone will follow you. Unfortunately, many times customers deal with companies for many reasons. It could be because of the name of the company, it could be because of you, maybe it's because of the pricing they are offered, it could be the terms of credit, it could be the location. There are so many reasons. So if you are resigning today and thinking that all these 50 clients you've been servicing, they'll move with you, I've seen many people being disappointed. And it's not just even business. There are situations where someone moves from one bank to another and they assume that clients will also follow them. Unfortunately, most of the time, only 10% of the clients will be willing to go with you everywhere you go or anywhere you go. So what does this mean? No matter how successful you are in your current work, in your current practice, get to understand this. When you start doing your own thing, you're starting from point zero. You're starting at the ground there. So it doesn't matter how big your employer was. If you're working for, let's say, a UN and now you formed your own NGO, don't expect it to be the same. The people who are funding the UN, they will not necessarily come to fund you simply because you've started your own thing and you've been dealing with them. You just have to be realistic. Don't expect a very smooth transition. Now, what about friends and relatives? Now, in my experience and the experience of many entrepreneurs that I've talked to, your family and friends, they may doubt you, they may not give you the support that you need. Entrepreneurship can be a very lonely affair, and more so if your friends and family are doubting you or they're not giving you the support you need. And sometimes it's not that they have any ill feelings, probably because they don't understand, number one, what you're doing. Number two, it's maybe not their passion, so they don't understand why you want to be transporting maembe from Tanzania to Kenya, if that's your passion, if that's your goal. Or they may not understand this HR thing or accounting thing. So don't be surprised when the people you expect to be your cheerleaders, in terms of ideas, in terms of finances, don't come your way. So entrepreneurship, it can be very lonely, it can be very stressful, and you'll be in a better position when you start your own thing, you start small, and whether the people who are closest to you are excited about it as you are, if they are not, then you still continue. So you need to understand that family and friends, they sometimes may not come through as you expect. And to my last point is, get to understand that mistakes are inevitable. Doing a business is not like an 8 to 5 job where there's a job description and you stick to it and you more or less know how your day will turn out to be. So entrepreneurship, it's all about risk taking. It's all about trying new things, whether it's marketing, whether it's finances, So as you're doing all those things, dealing with the employees, you're bound to make mistakes here and there. So they are part of business. Don't fear making mistakes. If things don't work out this time around, don't give up. And as I conclude, I would want to tell you that though these may dampen you, this might scare you, you've got to understand that when you're starting your own thing, when you're getting into entrepreneurship, you are mostly on your own. You'll have to put in the hours. You'll have to deal with a lot of unknowns. You'll have to be stretched, whether it's finances, whether it's the skill set, whether it's the workload. There's a lot that awaits you. If you are to get into business, the more you are clearer about what you're bound to encounter, the easier it will be for you to manage the situation. So if I haven't scared you and you're still passionate about business, and my goal was not to scare you, then my message to you, my final message to you is don't mind the hard work. And if you embrace the hard work, then that means you are cut out to be an entrepreneur. And the reality is there's no clear formula for success. All you need to do is believe in yourself, then you put your best foot forward, you give all the energy that you need, and sometimes don't focus on what others are saying. Go for it.